Welcome to the Teacher with Purpose podcast, a podcast that dives deep into the heart of education, exploring the stories, strategies, and making learning meaningful, making our educational system better. I'm Karanja Cruz, the founder and chief curator of Teaching with Purpose. In this series, we challenge the status quo and explore how intentional teaching can transform the lives through the story of Jerome. Imagine a world where every child receives education that deserves, a world where no student is left behind. In fact, imagine a public school where every single one of our pre-K to kindergarten to first graders to second graders are all reading, doing math proficiently. However, when they arrive in the system, it only allows a few to make it. And why is this the case? And why is it always black students falling within the cracks? These are the questions we're going to be asking throughout this podcast. Why? In this study that reveals third grade reading scores, they look at fourth grade reading scores, they look at fifth grade reading scores, and they determine how many prisons they're going to build. According to the data, 37% of people are incarcerated who are black in America. We only represent 13% of the general population, indicating a significant disproportionate representation in prisons compared to the population size. Today, we tell a story that reflects every classroom across the nation. We'll be right back with the story of Jerome. Today, we journey through the powerful story of Jerome, a stage name of a story that highlights the urgent need for change in our educational system. Jerome's story is a testament of why purposeful teaching is not just important, but essential. While Jerome is a stage name, it's a story that embodies why teaching with purpose is more than just a philosophy, it's a necessity. Let's talk about Jerome. Jerome is a bright young student who, like many, faced with challenges that are not of his own making. From pre-K to high school, I watched from a bird's eye view how the system ignored the concerns in delivering high-level instruction and ensuring that all students are reading at grade level. So first, I'm going to give you a quick summary of what happened to the students like Jerome. From pre-K to fifth grade, Jerome did not receive the high-level instruction he needed. When he reached middle school, the transition from learning to read to reading to learn became a stumbling block. As a result, Jerome began to disrupt class and skip class sessions to maintain his cool status and respect among his peers. Despite this, he was promoted through the grades without mastering the necessary skills from pre-K all the way throughout middle school. However, high school presents a new challenge. With overcrowded classrooms and high expectations, left Jerome feeling invisible. Unlike middle school, high school does not promote students to the next grade without passing classes and earning credits. Struggling with the workload, now Jerome is faced with the risk of dropping out. His journey is just a stark reminder of the systemic challenges that many students face on a daily basis throughout this country. Let's delve a little deeper into the early foundation of Jerome's. Jerome's experience through this educational system highlights the gaps that could profoundly affect a child's future. And it's a story that fuels our commitment to change. Jerome is a bright young student who, like many others, face challenges that we all face, but it's not with its own doing. So, in his early childhood, from pre-K all the way to 5th grade, he did not receive the high-level reading, writing, and math instruction that builds a foundation to read to learn. This wasn't due to the lack of his effort on his part, but rather systemic issues that left him without the foundational skills he needed. So we have to remember, it's not Jerome's fault. Now let's look at it in context. In the early years, education is about learning to read. By the time a child reaches 3rd grade and 4th grade, the focus shifts to reading to learn. So pre-K, 1st grade, kindergarten, all of those foundational early childhood grades, you have to learn how to read to be able to read to learn. His reading and math proficiency was not where it needed to be. He encountered a system that wasn't equipped to meet his needs. Jerome needed more individual attention. He often found himself lost in the shuffle. His teachers were dedicated, but resources and time was not sufficient to provide the high-level instruction he needed. Again, let's look at this in context. Like I stated before, the early childhood from pre-K to 2nd grade is the foundation where you learn how to read. If you do not know how to read going into the 3rd grade, this is how they determine how many prisons they're going to build. Because the trajectory of those students that do not know how to read, when the work transitions from reading to learn, many of our students fall in between the cracks. So imagine if we had a community-based school. So imagine if we had community-based organizations with the knowledge of Jerome's needs inside the classroom and even outside the classroom. If we had community-based organizations that understand that reading is that fundamental foundation, math proficiency and writing proficiency is that fundamental foundation that you need to be successful in this American school system. The action we need. So imagine if community-based organizations, schools are working with schools and families and communities all together collectively, we can be able to see these type of needs and be able to help students like Jerome at a very, very early age. We'll be right back for the next segment as Jerome transitions into middle school and then he transitions to high school. What is the trajectory of this systematic failure of Jerome?
Teaching with a purpose means to me that you have calling. It's not just a job.
Having steps, having things in place to help you get to that goal and moving with an intention, I think is what teaching with a purpose is all about.
Teaching with a purpose means to me fully stepping up into your power and unapologetically teaching the children that need to learn.
Teaching with purpose means teaching on purpose. Like, you're not here by accident.
I think for me, teaching is hard work. I don't do it just to do it. I do it because I care about working with the youth.
At the end of the day, before you teach anything, you got to be able to have a connection. You got to be able to build with your students. If you don't have any form of connection and they don't respect you or admire you in any type of way, why do you think they are going to be able to listen and learn from you if they don't really have that type of reverence for you? So teaching with purpose is when you come here, you're going to understand, you're going to have a paradigm shift, you're going to have a mindset change, and then you're going to be able to implement that into your classroom.
As Jerome enters into middle school, the challenges compound. The academic demands increase. Without the necessary skills, Jerome found himself overwhelmed. To cope, he began to act out in class, seeking the respect and attention he wasn't getting through his academic achievements. Picture Jerome sitting in the classroom in math. The teacher is explaining concepts that seems like foreign language to him. Frustrated and embarrassed, Jerome cracks jokes, interrupts the class, as a defense mechanism to mask his struggles. His peers laugh, and for a moment he feels a sense of belonging, even if it's not the kind he truly desires. This is why we need more mental health services in our schools, so students can have a sense of belonging. It's just not all about their academic needs, but what about their mental needs and their spiritual needs? Middle school allows us to move on despite us mastering certain skills, just like elementary school. So middle school allows, despite these challenges, that Jerome was promoted to the next grade each year. This practice, known as social promotion, aimed to keep students with their age peers. However, for Jerome, it meant advancing without mastering the skills he needed. It's a temporary solution that only postpones the inevitable. Imagine if we had a community school model. If we can see these issues that Jerome was facing early on, even in the middle school years, we still have a chance to help Jerome's trajectory. Now, as Jerome transitions into high school, it's a reality check. Jerome made the bold decision to attend a predominantly white school, hoping for a better education. He believed this school will offer more opportunities, but the reality was different. Overcrowded classrooms and high expectations left him feeling invisible and overwhelmed. In a classroom filled with students who are already proficient, Jerome struggled to keep up. The teacher, assuming a certain level of understanding, moved quickly through the material. Jerome found himself lost and unable to ask for help without feeling ashamed. He was buried in the system, his potential overlooked. The impact of that. Jerome faced a harsh reality where high school wouldn't promote him without passing his classes. Unlike elementary and middle school, when you're promoted without mastery, high school is a reality where you're not passed to the next grade unless you are passing your classes with the proper credits. The work was hard. Without the foundational skills, Jerome is now at risk of failing and even dropping out. And with the outside influences, now he's at risk of dropping out, at risk of joining the gang, and then the cycle continues. Here's the broader impact. Jerome's story is not unique. It's a reflection of the systemic failures that leave many students behind. These failures can lead to disengagement, dropping out, and for some, turning to the streets to find respect and belonging. This is why teaching with purpose is so critical. We must address these educational gaps early on, provide all students with the tools they need to succeed. We need to create an environment where every student feels valued and supported, where their individual needs are recognized and met. This is a call of action. I urge educators, administrators, policymakers, families, parents to reflect on Jerome's story. How can we create an environment that supports all students regardless of their starting points? How can we ensure that no child is left behind? Join us in this journey to make education more equitable and impactful. Let's work together to ensure that every child has the opportunity to succeed. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, Teaching with Purpose. I hope Jerome's story has inspired you to think critically and the role of education in shaping our future.